I'm Sarah Cade.
And I'm Liz Stevens.
And this is Disney Princess Deathmatch. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Boom, boom. We made it.
We did.
Everyone's been talking about it for so long.
Oh my gosh, guys, I'm
we
so
have
sorry we
so
made you
many
wait.
things that we could disappoint them on because they've built it up into their mind to be this amazing, wonderful program. But it's really Liz and Sarah talking about princesses. So I hope that's what you wanted.
And Liz is here. Joke's on you guys. No, this will be really good. This is our second time recording this inaugural episode.
That's true. Yeah, which is good. Now now we've got some miles behind us.
Exactly. Yes.
I don't know, something under our belt. What's that? Not notches. Something else.
Nope, notches are on a belt. It's just under our belt now.
Yeah, we got more things under our belt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pants and such.
We got more princesses under our belt?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Oh, Lord. Okay, so this is the podcast where we are going to go through and watch every single official Disney princess film going by the official Disney princess list, which is why
as provided by the interwebs.
As provided by Disney and the internet.
That's true, yeah.
We didn't just make this up. I know that a lot of people wanted us to include characters like Giselle from Enchanted, but she doesn't count, or Nala from Lion King, but she's not a human.
Yep.
And the rules are very speciesist.
They are.
Damn
and
near
also,
racist.
Well, then they're just weird. Like, they don't make any sense because Mulan is on the list.
And she is not a princess, you
She's
guys.
in no way royalty.
Nope.
She doesn't marry into it. I mean, nothing.
Nope.
She is in no way a princess.
Just a person. A great protagonist.
Awesome. Like a neat,
not a
neat
good
person,
princess.
a great protagonist, not a princess. It's weird.
And so we are going to be going through and watching these films, and we're going to grade each of the princesses in 6 different categories, and they can get a score of 1 to 5 in each of those categories. And I think that we'll talk about that whenever we get to the end and maybe explain that a little bit more.
Sure.
There's also a bonus category that occasionally comes up. But again, we'll deal with all of that when we get to the end. So this first movie that we're going to be going through and discussing is the very first Disney film ever, and it is Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, which came out on January...
Did you know it's the Seven Dwarfs with an F and not with a
Dwarves?
V? And it really bothers me. Like, dwarves is the... Yeah, dwarfs shouldn't be a word, right?
It depends on which fantasy universe you're reading into.
No.
Yes, it does.
Really?
Because some of them will say... just depending on what book you're reading, depending on which author you're reading, you're going to get elves or dwarfs or dwarves.
Huh. I mean, I guess if it's a made-up word. Well, all
V.
words are made up. Well,
all words are made up, Liz. That's exactly right.
Somebody had to do it.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Okay, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. All right.
See, it feels weird, right?
It doesn't have a good mouthfeel.
No, not good.
I don't like it. So I'm going to say dwarves during this recording.
I'll rest easier.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Came out January 13th, 1938.
Dadgum, that is a long time ago.
So many years
Wow.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't alive. Our parents weren't alive. I'm pretty sure none of you guys were alive.
My grandmother was, because I believe she talks about seeing this. I think. Yeah, because she graduated. Even that is cutting it close, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I want to say she graduated high school in like 53 or something.
Oh, so she would have been
So
real
she was
little.
like quite small.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some time ago. Many
Crazy,
moons.
crazy.
But even though it's so old, it really did set the standard. And in a lot of ways, they call it, classic Disney, I suppose, for a reason. I mean, it fits in with everything. They've certainly grown a lot as a company and as storytellers. But, I mean, this is a Disney movie, It's
This
not
is
like,
the
isn't
Disney
this
movie.
cute before they knew what they were doing. I
Right.
mean, this is great work.
Yes, it really, really is. So canonically, we wanted to go ahead and look up like the ages of the Disney princesses. And this comes from a BuzzFeed article, which got its information, I'm assuming, from the Disney Wiki. But anyway, that's what we're going off of. It's the same one that I'm at least consistent, even if I'm wrong.
Right. BuzzFeed knows stuff.
Yeah, BuzzFeed occasionally knows things with their listicles.
You can cite them as a source in a college paper, right?
I
Probably
dropped
not.
out of college, so I don't know.
Who knows? I would.
And that's why we don't have higher education.
There you go.
But that's fine. So Snow White is 14 years old, canonically. And let's just jump straight into this.
Okay. Well, I mean, we open up, and first we've got that beautiful, ornate book. I have to say I missed the books in the beginning. I really liked it when we got to watch Ever After?
Enchanted.
Every time. Anyway, I really liked it when we got to watch Enchanted, and they did the callback to the books opening, because it's a really lovely touch. And it's not animated, right? That is
No,
just the
I'm
visual.
pretty sure that is just a book that they attached some fishing line to the
Disney
corner
magic.
and just like pulled it over. But yeah, it's that's the big white one with all of the jewels, like just the hugely ornate book,
Yep.
right?
And then there's not even a voiceover of the prologue. You have to actually physically read it.
What?
Yeah.
Reading?
I know. Insane. So, and it talks about, how her father had passed away, how she lived with her stepmother, and she was forced to work as a scullery maid, which is, I know this because of Downton Abbey, the lowest form of servitude available within a castle. The scullery maid is at the very bottom.
What does she do?
She does the worst of the work. Mostly it's scrubbing floors and washing dishes. So usually their hands were always like very chapped and their clothes were always wet, and they fell ill a lot because they were wet most of the time. And anyway, it's terrible. And
that sounds awful.
And society was very broken for a long time. Still is, really. But
quite.
Anyway, scullery maid. So yeah, she did the super hard work and the hard labor, which, like a true Disney princess, did not make her, it seems, resentful or cranky or ornery, but she remained sweet and kind. And I mean, when we meet her in the beginning, she's a lovely little girl.
Yeah,
she's
very
singing,
genteel.
Very genteel. That's a great word for her. She is very princess-like.
Yes.
Like she really did set the standard of, walking delicately and the way she kind of flutters her hands. She also has a very affected high voice that I'm not a big fan of.
Nor am I.
I really think it's just antiquated. It's just something that got lost in the translation from an older movie because her first song opens up there at the well, the I'm Wishing song.
Yes.
And it is bad.
It's not
it is
good.
A bad
you guys.
song. It
not
is,
great.
It hurts your ears.
Yes, it does. Did you watch this movie a lot when you were a kid?
No, but I had the poster for it hanging over my bunk bed when I was like 3 or 4.
Huh.
Vague recollections of that.
Weird.
Yeah.
I think I watched this movie one time in my childhood and it did not keep my interest. And so it was not a staple in our household.
Well, I remember when it came back out of the vaults, I must have been probably like 7 or 8 or something because I was old. I was young enough to where I got a Happy Meal from McDonald's because they were doing the, Snow White's coming out of the vault. So you got Snow White toys.
Okay,
and
yeah.
So this one was Dopey standing on Sneezy's shoulders in the coat.
Okay, yeah,
and I remember thinking that I was almost too old for this toy, but that I liked it anyway. So based on that very subjective story, probably 91, 92 is probably when they released it from the vault, and that's about when I watched it.
Gosh, that sounds about accurate. I bet that's when we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
like
would have
that.
been 3 or 4. Yep. But yeah, Snow White was never really my bag. I was absolutely more into Little Mermaid, which we'll get to in a couple of weeks. But yeah, so we are introduced to Snow White, and then we're introduced to the prince pretty quickly after that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people mistakenly call him Prince Charming.
Right.
And this guy is not Prince
He is
Charming.
not.
He's never named in this film. He does have a name.
Yes.
And it is Ferdinand. Prince Ferdinand is Snow White's prince. Prince Charming is Cinderella's prince.
You don't have to tell me, girl. I know this.
I know you know this.
Cinderella is my girl.
It's
Spoilers.
true. Yes. She's your favorite. But so we get Prince Ferdinand hopping the fence, just deciding that he's a prince and he gets to do what he wants, and just jumps into this courtyard of this girl and starts singing at her. His singing also not super great.
I do actually kind of like it a little bit more. I mean, it's certainly that, 30s style high tenor.
Right. He
a lot
also
of
sounds
timbre.
like he's like 30.
He does sound older than
He
is.
sounds
that's fair.
significantly older. And I understand that during like medieval, she's wearing clogs, so
Europe somewhere.
we're in
it looks very
Scandinavia.
German in some places. Yeah, so some kind of Eastern
some place
European
there. I'm trying to
something.
remember if Snow White is a Grimm fairy tale or if it's an Andersen fairy tale. Probably should have looked that up. That might have been important.
That's okay.
Anyway, Europe, someplace.
Yes.
And so I understand that, like, during the time of princesses and castles and princes and all that 14-year-old girls were frequently married off to like 45, 50-year-old men. But that
true.
doesn't make it okay. It's weird and I don't like it.
Fair enough. Well, and she at least has the good sense to run away at the very beginning when she sees him.
That's right.
But then she's like, oh, but he's so handsome. So she's like dolling up her hair. And do I look all right? She's in rags. But apparently she decides, yes, I'm beautiful, which she is. So way to go, girl.
She's
I like
the fairest
that.
in the land.
Yeah,
so.
obviously.
Clearly.
The mirror said so. Well, and we should also note that her song sort of conjured him there because it was a wishing well,
Yes.
right? And the song says, I'm wishing for the one I love to find me today. and here he comes.
He just appears.
So that's also probably why she trusted him a little bit more quickly.
I guess
because
so.
I just wished for this guy. And it does introduce that magic is a thing here in this
Do you think that he
fairy tale
legitimately
realm.
appeared because of the wishing well?
I
mean, I figured it was like
mean,
narrative
storytelling wise,
but
yes. I mean,
it
do I
never
think like
occurred
it's
to
an
me-
actual for real wishing well, and that's how yes, I do. Yep.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, I think that this one more than several of the others really centers on like magic and the supernatural
That's
as like
true,
a driving force.
because the evil queen is Soup's magic.
She is absolutely magic,
Yes.
like old school dark magic, black magic.
Oh yeah. So we, the prince leaves, and then we go over to the queen, and this entire time, the queen, first of all, there was some controversy whenever they were getting ready to create this film because villains are ugly. Villains are supposed to be hideous, and so whenever we get to the evil queen, who's just called the evil queen,
That's right.
in Snow White, she's actually quite beautiful. And I mean, which
That's
of
the
course she
point.
would need to be. She goes up to the mirror, and the mirror has been telling her for years, you are the fairest of them
fairest
all.
in the land. Yep.
Until finally the mirror says, JK, it's totes Snow White.
Yep.
And then the queen gets ridiculously jealous and orders her huntsman to go and kill Snow White and bring her heart.
Yeah, I mean it's very dark, and
It's
when she
extremely
speaks
dark.
to the mirror too, like we've all said, mirror, mirror on the wall. Actually, it's magic mirror on
Magic
the wall.
mirror,
it's
not mirror,
mirror,
mirror.
which
That's
is very
right.
interesting. And then the other thing was that she actually used the word summon. Like I think she used the word summoned a spirit. Like it was very dark. I was like, whoa, okay. So it wasn't even a magic mirror. It was summoning the spirit of the mirror.
There is a creepy dark spirit living in the mirror.
Yeah. So it's
Whose only job is to decide who's hot and who's not. Like
Indeed.
you do with the dark demonic forces
That's right.
that you conjure into your reflective surfaces.
back before they had
guess.
an iPhone app that would do that for you.
Right. Swipe left or right, magic mirror.
Exactly.
Oh, man. So the huntsman drags Snow White out into the forest, and he is about to plunge his dagger into her heart, and she's terrified. And
Yep, that
just-
part kind of scared my son just a little bit because the music really swelled. And
Oh,
it was
yeah.
definitely something scary.
It's very dramatic and a little bit unsettling. But then the huntsman can't do it.
No.
And so he tells Snow White to run off. The queen wants to hurt her. She needs
Yes.
to get away in order to, be safe. And then he goes and kills a deer and brings the
A
deer
pig.
heart. Oh, a pig.
Heart of
Sorry.
a pig that you hold in your hand.
Heart of a
Yep.
pig, brings it back to the queen. And this is why when you demand proof of your enemy's death, you demand their head.
Yep.
You can't, none of this heart business.
Herod knew this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
his head on a silver platter.
that's right. Bring it right to me. Yep. Yeah, but then the queen figures it out pretty quickly. And,
Well, and Snow White is running away. This is the first time we see Snow White having any sort of, I mean, I guess you could call it agency. Not really. Well,
So,
she's running away.
she's
now
running
she's
away.
on her own and she's in peril.
Right.
And we see how she responds in the situation.
And she is
Thoughts,
running
Sarah?
through the forest scene is actually pretty scary.
It is, which brings me to another question. Do you think that the forest is enchanted and magical, and that is why it reaches out to her and becomes such a dark forest? Do you think that it is also, like an enchanted forest with dark spirits, or do you think she's just really scared and her imagination is running away with her?
Well, since the end of the sequence ends up being with her in a clearing surrounded by bunnies and chipmunks and bluebirds and things,
Right.
I think that this poor 14-year-old girl who just found out that her stepmom wanted to cut her heart out
Yes.
and have it in a jeweled box is probably just like super duper freaking out. So I don't know if it's actually a dark forest. I think
Interesting.
that it's just, I think it's dark in the forest.
Right,
I think there is
right.
not enough light.
But not like an actual
Yeah, but I think that
supernatural
just yeah.
enchanted
I think
forest.
that she's just really scared and freaking out and running through. And woods are creepy, y'all. I just got back from going with my family to Robber's Cave, and we were walking around in nature, and we legitimately got lost and could not figure out where we were. Fortunately, I had enough of a cell signal to whip out Google Maps, and it led us back to the trail. So
Way to go, Google Maps.
yeah, thanks Google Maps. We would have died. So I don't think that it's an enchanted forest. I think that Snow is just kind of flipping out.
Panicking. Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, and she does, when she wakes up, she says something about how, I feel so silly now, and all because I was afraid. Then she sings another song. She sings that with a smile and a song. I can never remember this song.
I
It's
don't
a
remember
song.
any of these
I mean,
songs.
she gets another one. It's in the middle, and
I don't even know what that is. I don't know
Yeah,
what you're
well, it's
doing.
that song.
The only song from this movie that I can remember is Hi Ho.
Ah,
That's it.
probably the best song.
I think so,
Yeah.
probably.
Well, and I like the song where they dance. We'll get to that. Anyway,
Yes.
so she sings a song with the animals about not being afraid, basically.
Yes. Yep.
And then she asks if they know of a place where she can stay and be safe. And they say, well, yes, we do know such a place.
But they don't talk.
But they don't
right?
actually talk. They
Yeah.
just kind of like bat their eyes at her and start hopping away, and she follows them. So, and then we have an excellent animation sequence where she's following these animals as they cross a pond, and you see her reflection all like almost in, like the
ripply.
wavy and ripply
Yeah.
in the pond. It's beautiful. And it's weird though, because in every other sequence the water always looks very like cartoon
Still.
blue
Yeah.
water. Yeah. But that was a lovely little part.
Yeah,
anyway.
absolutely. And then we come over, we finally get to the point where like they crest the hill and you can see the dwarf's cottage.
Yeah.
And like the light is shining down on it and it's like so much
Darling.
brighter than everything around it. And it looks dope. It is a dope looking cottage.
Yes.
It would make an excellent bed and breakfast. I would stay there. I bet it's got great reviews on Yelp. And so,
Although it's pretty filthy.
it is pretty filthy, so maybe
Yeah.
not that great of a reviews. Maybe like 2-star. So Snow White goes over. Does she even knock on the door?
She does, and there's nobody home. Then she tries to look through a window, and it's really dirty.
Yes.
So she wipes the little spot on the window where she can look in, and she says, "Oh, 7 little chairs. I think 7 children live here. 7 untidy little children." And then she decides that she'll move in and be their mother, like Wendy and Peter Pan, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Just
then
goes
she
right into
heads
a house.
up. Well, and I mean, to be fair, she thought that they were kids and they might need her.
What are 7
Also,
kids doing
she's-
living alone in the woods, Snow White?
Well, she's only 14.
That's
she's very
true.
naive.
Yeah,
it's her
it's
first time out
true.
of the castle.
That's also true.
And then I think we meet our dwarves, right? That's when we get the cut to the hi-ho.
I think so, yeah. They're over in the caves and are just mining away and hauling like millions of dollars worth of like diamonds and gems
Which
and
is
jewels.
crazy. Like, where do they sell them? They're obviously not getting enough. They're not getting
Seriously,
paid for
what
their
do they?
work well
I
enough.
mean, do they eat them? Are they what? Like, does the queen know that this mine exists? Like in her land, is the forest not in her jurisdiction? Like,
Clearly,
whose
the
property
economy
is that?
is just bonkers over
I
there.
don't
in
know.
Snow
Yeah, the
White
economy
land.
is super bad. Yeah, I didn't see anybody else working in that palace. It's literally the queen
Yep,
and Snow
and the
White
scullery maid,
and
and
the
that's
demon
it.
mirror. Maybe if she had all those jewels, then the queen would feel like the fairest of them all and would feel as beautiful on the inside as she does on the outside.
I don't think that's it, Sarah.
Probably not. No, she's just a bad lady. You're a bad man and you need a mommy.
So I like the dwarves. I think that they're really charming and really cute. I really like Dopey especially. Dopey is darn cute, and
Dopey reminds me of your 2-year-old, 1-year-old.
I was just going to say that. My 1-year-old,
Yeah.
Uriah. He's a lot like Uriah. Yep, they've got that same cute little derpy smile.
Yes, and they're both bald.
Yeah. They're both. Uriah's getting some hair.
Yeah, I
now,
mean some, but they're all
yeah.
very light.
Yes, fair and.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh,
Okay.
can we please dress him up as Dopey for Halloween?
Yes.
Okay, done. We did it.
Oh man, that's cute. So anyway, I like the dwarves. I think they're really cute. I even like Grumpy.
I think that Grumpy is my favorite. He seems to have, frankly, the most personality.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Well, I mean, when there's 7 of them,
Yeah, that's true.
you get your one characteristic, and it's
That's
also
right.
your name.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yep, and that's it. That's like your entire arc, which we can forgive because it's a fairy tale. I
Yeah,
guess.
sure.
It's
Yep.
all pretty 2-dimensional. They find Snow White, and they're like, "Oh, it's a girl!" And all of this. She wakes up. They all introduce themselves, and then we have like a dinner party and a dance party, and she makes them go out and wash their hands and wash their faces, and we have that scrub
Yes,
dub dub song, which I also had completely forgotten about. And
I
it's-
like their little dancing sequence though. With this
yeah,
song,
where
too.
the Dopey on, is it Sleepy or Sneezy's shoulders?
Dopey's on Sneezy's shoulders because he has to block a sneeze with his
That's
toe
right.
at some point.
Yes. Wearing the cloak, and they're just dancing around, and the other Grumpy is playing.
What is it, like a pipe organ?
It's a pipe organ, but also accordions. He's sitting
Yeah,
on and
that's
controlling
right,
with his separate
buttocks.
buttocks.
That's right. He's a talented man.
He really is. He all of his grumpiness, he just like puts into his organ playing, I guess.
Like Beethoven.
Yeah. And so they've got that really great sequence, and that's awesome. And then we cut back to the queen a couple of times and see that she's like in her cave of horrors. And there's skulls and black candles and her crazy spell book.
It's really cool.
It
like
is
I
cool.
really like that sequence, and I think that it kind of put in my mind, at least when I was a kid, like what like magic and witches and Halloween, like that's what I associate with it, I think, which is why like I always say that I love Halloween, and then Halloween comes around and I'm like, this isn't the thing that I love. I can't quite put my finger on it, but
what you love is potions class with Severus Snape. That's what you love.
Yeah, and that kind of like that sort of spooky dark magic stuff. It's just fascinating to watch. I loved all of the like steampunk equipment that she had, and she was adding like a scream was one of the ingredients,
right? Yeah,
and, like a
Liquid
lightning
scream.
bolt like stirred everything. And it was just a neat sequence.
Yes,
and then like
again,
tar
very dark,
poison dripping off the apple like a skull. It
was
Yes, cool.
Yes. And then we get the poison apple coming up and like the bubbles around it and all this stuff. And it's iconic, right?
It is iconic.
This is Disney. This is the thing. The poison apple and the wicked queen. And so then she transforms herself into a hag, which is a pretty harrowing scene. It's scary. Like,
it is.
To see her
another one that my son was a little bit uncomfortable with. Yeah, at 3.
Yeah. And so then we go from that back over to Snow White and the Dwarves. And it sounds like we're going through this really quick, but this movie's pretty short, you guys. There's just not like a whole lot there. And so the Dwarves are heading off back to do something with, I don't know what they did with all the gems that they brought home. I don't know where they are. I don't know. They're going to get more and
maybe he's just hoarding them all. Don't dwarves hoard jewels? Isn't that like a thing in the fantasy world?
Maybe they had to like take a trip by Smaug's hoard and drop off all the diamonds and jewels there.
Mayhaps.
None of that is true. I don't know. It's
headcanon accepted.
Headcanon and moving on. So they're getting ready to leave, and Grumpy tells Snow White, do not let anyone into this house. Do not talk to any strangers. You 14-year-old girl who you don't know how the world works. Don't talk to anybody. And Snow White's gotcha. Cool. Super good. Everything's great. So then the Wicked Queen shows up. And Snow White starts talking to her.
Of course she does. And all of her little animal friends are like, no. She's She's like, oh, I'm so ashamed of you being so mean to this nice old lady.
Which, can we just take one look at that lady? There's
clearly
nothing
evil.
Nice about that. Listen, I'm not trying to cast shade, but like, this is a children's cartoon. And when you're living in a cartoon universe, you can tell who the villains are with one glance. This woman is hunched. She's got a big ugly face. She's wearing all black. She's being very insistent about the apples for some reason. And so Snow White just takes hold of that apple and takes a bite and then passes out off screen. And we just see her wrist hit the floor and the apple roll away.
Yeah.
And the evil queen starts cackling. And
the animals have gotten to go and get the dwarves and bring them back and show them that something terrible has gone wrong.
Right. And so the dwarves are dwarfs.
I know.
I can't.
I agree.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. It's like Gary Gergich all over again. That's somehow worse. So they're like riding on the backs of Bambi and his mom and like running back over there and all of this. And so they get there and we have a really touching scene where they're all very sad because it seems that Snow White is dead, but I guess nobody took a pulse or anything.
I don't even know. I think they go straight to chasing the witch, don't they? Or did I don't even remember.
I don't remember. Did they check at the house?
But chasing the witch is definitely
okay. Yeah, that definitely happens because then they like chase her up the mountain and stuff, and it's raining and storming and all of this. And then, I forgot though. Whenever the witch was going through her spell, if she's in the middle of doing her spell and like reading the instructions as she's going, which I don't recommend. Like read your recipe once before you start cooking.
True.
Maybe.
Come on.
Then
Rookie
because
mistake.
you turn the page and what does it say? Only true love's kiss will wake her up, right? It's right there.
Yep.
Surely, with all of your evil dark magics, you've got a spell that just kills her, right?
Yeah. Or you could, this is awful, but you could just bury her.
You could. You didn't have to leave her there. You could have taken her with you.
Yep.
Stuck her in the highest room of the tallest tower. Well, don't do that because they'll find her.
They will.
Maybe like the darkest basement at the bottom of your castle.
Sure.
I don't know.
Well,
you wanted her heart, right? Like, you're right there. Finish the job. If you're not going to be serious about it, then what are you even doing here?
Oh, man.
Anyway. This is going to be a running theme, you guys. I'm going to be constantly talking about what a better villain I am than all the villains in these movies. It's a little disconcerting, but it's probably fine. So the dwarves chase the evil queen up onto the mountain, and then thunder strikes and splits the ground she's
Beneath
standing
her.
in front
Yeah.
of, and she topples to her death.
Yes, and then the vultures start to circle over her body, and the
Yeah,
screen
they were
goes
not
blurry,
waiting around.
And it's like,
yeah.
Okay, she is dead.
Yep, Soup's dead. Totally dead. So then I think you're right. I think all of that happens first, and then we get back to the. I think that we cut straight to the dwarves. Oh, this is what they did with all the jewels. They turned it into a glass coffin for Snow White.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Because she was so beautiful, even in death, that the dwarves could not see fit to bury her, or something like that.
Something like that. And I don't know if dwarves know about like human body decomposition and like how that works. But
Probably.
I mean, she's not going to be that beautiful for very long if she were dead, which I guess she's not. She's
yeah.
just
That's a good call.
Anyway, fairy tales. What are you going to do?
I don't know.
Well, you're going to wait for your prince to Deus Ex Machina his way right
There
onto
he
the
goes,
scene.
which he sure did. Just comes.
Literally.
I guess he heard
You know what? He
tell.
might be magic.
He might also be magic. Yep. Well, he had heard a rumor of a woman who was so beautiful lying in this glass coffin. So he just wanted to go see her, I guess. I guess he didn't have a lot of work to do as a prince.
They never do.
That's true. Maybe Dad's doing all the work. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's like a cabinet.
we have yet to.
I don't know.
Again, this is the second time we're going through doing Snow White, and we have done several movies since then. I don't know if we've seen a single prince who did literally any work.
Yeah.
Little bit problematic.
Well, you know.
Yeah. So the prince shows up and sees Snow White and then kisses her, and it's absolutely a kiss of true love
I guess
because
so.
you're hot, I'm hot, let's be hot together.
I know.
I guess.
Well, he truly believes he loves her. I don't know.
Is that how it
I
works?
don't know, Sarah. It's how it worked this time.
I guess
She woke up, they were happy, and then they literally rode off into the sunset.
on the back of a white horse.
Do you think that's where this comes from?
I thought that came from like cowboys in Old West times. They
I
would
don't
ride
think
off
so.
into the sunset.
They do ride off into the
They'd
sunset.
leave the
but
town.
the idea of like ride off in the sunset on a white, I don't know. Maybe
No,
so.
that
But I was
specific thing, yeah, that's probably definitely from this.
Yeah.
Where like your prince swings you up on his white horse and rides off into the sunset.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
So
this.
that is Snow
Yes.
White. All right.
Yep.
Because I was thinking.
Guaranteed.
Okay. I just wondered which one came first. If it was a chicken or an egg thing, like people have been saying that for a long time, or if that was the
Well, that's
iconic
what I'm
image
deciding
that did
now.
it.
That must be true.
Must be true.
Yep. And so then that is the end of the movie, and that's it.
That is it.
That's-
yeah.
yeah.
That was the whole thing.
Yep. Not a very long film.
Not a very
not
difficult
really
plot.
a whole lot happens. Most of the time is used up just making merry with the dwarves.
Yeah,
just the
which is
dancing,
cute.
which is
Yep.
cute. Yeah, it's totally fine. You know, it was a big deal at the time because there was not a feature like there had never been a feature like the movie
Right.
before. Certainly
yeah.
not done by Disney. I mean. It worked. It worked
Yeah,
for them. Like
absolutely.
Yep,
The
it's
start of
something that
the-
we're talking about. What almost
You're
80
so
years
cute.
later, 78 years later, we are still talking about this movie.
Yep. We sure are. Yep.
Whoa! That is ridiculous.
And my son now still asks to watch it from time to time. Watch Snow White with me? Watch
That's
Snow White?
hilarious.
Yep.
That is great because he's a 3-year-old boy.
Yep.
So
True. Yeah.
Okay, so we are now going to get into our grading system for
Yes.
Snow White.
All right. So let's break this down. We do have, as we said earlier, we have 6 different categories.
Yes, we do.
They all start with an A because
we like alliteration.
We like alliteration.
Alliteration
It's
is
fun
awesome.
that way. Haha. I do
See
see.
what I did?
I do.
So we start with autonomy, which is how often does she make her own choices? Does she make her own choices at all? How many of her, do her choices affect the plot? The next thing is attitude. Do we like her personality?
Yeah.
Is she sweet? Is she bratty? Is she somebody that you would feel comfortable modeling your daughter after? Next, animal companions or the equivalent thereof.
Yes.
Because some princesses do not have animal companions, but there's some sort of magical something helping them out.
Exactly.
After that is attire. Do we like her outfits? Are they good outfits? Are they bad outfits? How iconic are they?
Yes.
Next is her aria. Do we like her songs? Are her songs good? Are they memorable? Are they literally Tony Award winning songs?
Right.
And then the last official category is the curveball, which is the zombie apocalypse category.
Woo!
How well would this Disney princess do during a zombie apocalypse, or would you want this Disney princess on your zombie
team.
Apocalypse survival team?
Exactly.
Because for Liz, it's a competition, I guess, and we're all on separate teams during the zombie apocalypse.
Not everyone is going to survive, Sarah.
I mean, I guess not. That's fair. And then, if ever any of our princesses tie, we will bring in what is known as the Lily bonus point, which is where we ask your daughter Lily to actually come onto the show and tell us which of the princesses she prefers. She is right smack dab in the middle of the demographic that most of these films are geared towards.
Right.
So we just let her make the final call anytime somebody
for whatever
ties.
reason that she decides.
That's exactly
Just
right.
'cause.
Yep, because it's her and because science. It's a very, very scientific method that we're using. Liz and I are going to combine scores. No, we're going to come to a consensus on scores. So we're just going to come up with one number for each girl. So we are now starting with Snow White. Snow White's autonomy. What do you give her on a score of 1 to 5?
Her autonomy. Well, that's a good question. First of all, she has a none in the beginning because she's
a scullery maid and she doesn't
she's
do
a
anything.
servant. Yeah. Once she leaves the house, she's the one who determines that she's going to take care of these young men.
Yes.
These children, she thought. Old men, turns out. Anyway.
Yep.
So she absolutely goes straight to work cleaning the house.
She does. Her decision to trust the old lady absolutely affects the plot.
Yeah, that is very true.
So she makes a shocking number of choices. I think that whenever we sat down and talked about doing this podcast, we were like, Snow White's going to get a 5, right? She's not going to get anything, right? But
she went total, not 5 out of 5.
Right. Yeah. But she actually does make a surprising number of decisions, include and I think that she does get some points for being afraid of the strange man who leapt into her courtyard.
Fair enough.
And choosing to get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Just then
Get up out of the way.
And she, of course, goes right back because if you're a girl in the 30s, your only job is to find a man and marry him and have his children. So I don't know. What do you think?
We get to a 4. That's what I think.
It was our first time. It's okay because everything else is pretty low.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think that she's got a lot that's going to be working against her as we go on.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable giving her, a 4? Maybe.
That sounds good because, I mean, it's not as though she was asleep during 60% of her film.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think about a 3?
I think a 3 is good. A 4 feels like it's a little too much,
It
even
does.
though she made some decisions. They weren't
life-changing. I mean, technically they were, but
well, like you said, they didn't move forward the plot enough.
Okay,
yeah,
no, that's totally fair.
It's just
3
not
is
something
great.
I said it.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 for autonomy. Next is her attitude. Do you like Snow White's attitude? Her personality? Is she sweet? She's pretty sweet.
She's incredibly sweet.
She
In
is.
fact, I had in my notes that she's super adorable.
Yeah.
She's unfailingly kind, and she's very generous with her time with these. I keep on calling them with these boys because they're like kids in a lot of ways.
Right,
they're
right.
old men. So, but when she's
These
so thoughtful
dwarfs.
as to make them the pies, and she's writing Grumpy's name on the pie, and she says her prayers, and she's like, "Please help my new friend to like me," and I'm like, "You're adorable." I mean, she's a super cute girl.
That's true. 5?
I'm happy with a 5.
5
I
is
would
great.
hang out
She's
with
got an
Snow White.
excellent
She's got a
attitude,
perfect
yeah.
attitude. Yeah, totally great.
Little saccharine, but that's okay. Animal Companion, what do you think?
Animal companions, I think that they worked as hard as they could, and I also think they're iconic. They are the
That's
iconic
true.
Disney animals who have this special affinity with the princess, and they communicate, but not through talking. But they did so much work to give her the cottage and to scare away the witch and to go and get the
But they didn't
dwarves.
scare away
They
the
didn't
witch.
scare away the witch. That is true.
Is the thing. They just all made eyes at Snow White. How about if a 3 is pretty neutral? They're not
Okay.
terrible, right? But they're not the best.
I like
right?
that. Okay,
we'll
a
give them a
neutral
3.
3. I like it.
3 sounds good. Okay, how about Snow White's attire? So she's got basically 2 different outfits. She's got her rags outfit and then that iconic Snow
That's
White
another
dress.
thing. It's so iconic. It's hard to even look at it without.
Do you like the dress?
It's not my favorite for a Disney princess dress, certainly, but I do. I love the colors. I love how bold the colors are, and the thing that I don't like is the weird stick up collar thing in the back.
Yeah.
Everything else I quite like though, and it's a little more practical than some of the other princess outfits.
yeah, okay, I can
It's
see
not
that. I
super
do
great.
like the colors. Because everything around her is painted like so naturalistically.
Yeah.
And like very earth tones and stuff that she
That's
really
true.
does
She
stand
stands out.
from everything around her. How about 3.5?
That sounds good.
Okay,
Sure.
excellent. Next are her arias.
They're bad.
They're not good.
Yeah.
I don't know any of them.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't, because I'm wishing for the one I love.
A
It's
one,
stuck in my
right?
brain
She just
all
gets
the
a
time.
one?
A one. That sounds good.
Okay, 1.
You're welcome, Internet.
And finally, the final category. How would Snow White do during a zombie apocalypse?
Okay. So this is the girl
Here's
who
yes.
straight up passed out in the woods because
Yes.
she was scared.
Yes, she did.
Real bad.
Yep.
So
A 1?
a one.
A 1.
Yeah. I mean, you're taking care of Snow White if she is on your team.
That's exactly
She
right.
is- yeah.
Yep.
Maybe
Listen,
she runs
she's
real
super
slow
sweet.
and she'll help you get away. So that's
Yeah,
the one.
if she passes out, then the zombies aren't going to be
Exactly.
chasing you anymore.
That's what I'm
But
saying. Yeah.
That's not what you want on your
No,
team.
that's not what you want on
your
your team.
team is meant to survive.
That's right.
I think.
Yep. No, you're right. Yeah, that's a 1.
It's
Sorry,
a
girl.
1.
Sorry,
Yep,
Snow.
sounds good to me. Okay, so we're going to do some math over here. And 16.5 is the total. So,
Okay. Well-
not good, not bad. That is just, like, the total possible score for any of these princesses would be 31. And that's only
Oh,
with the
wow.
Lily bonus point. If they
Yeah,
got a 5 and
yeah.
everything, and then the Lily bonus point, that would be
Okay.
31. So she's a little bit over half, which
Okay.
isn't bad for our very first Disney princess.
Not bad.
Not bad
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, fair enough. That's what an average means. Okay.
That is what average means. Absolutely.
Cool.
All right. Well, great job. Excellent. Good job, Snow White. I'm glad that I don't have to watch your movie again because I don't really want to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm stuck watching it a few more times while Corbin's a fan. So
Oh, man.
that's okay. It's not terrible.
I'm
like I
sure
said,
I'm sure
the dwarves are
it's just
real
fine
cute.
for background music and noise and stuff, not music.
For me walking in and out of rooms
Yes.
as
Yep,
I do when,
absolutely.
when
Yeah.
movies are on.
Yep. True story. Awesome. Okay, well, if you guys want to get in touch with us, if you think that we were totally wrong, I don't think you do, but if you do think that, you can get in touch with us on Twitter using the hashtag DPDM. That is Disney Princess Deathmatch. I am aware that deathmatch is one word, but it's too late. It's too late to apologize. That's the hashtag. And that's
You're
what it
welcome
is.
again.
Yep. Why are you doing
I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm sorry. I deeply regret it, but
You're
here we are.
very distracting. You can get in touch with us on Twitter at Common Room Cast. We are a part of the Common Room Radio podcast network, which is great. I love it. It's one of my favorite things.
Absolutely.
Ever.
Yeah.
All of our fans and listeners, you are the coolest people in the universe. Don't let anyone tell you different. If they do, tell me, and I will cut them. All right? You can get in touch with me on Twitter at Elsa Grab the Salt if that tells you absolutely anything about where my loyalties lie in the Disney Princess Deathmatch.
And I'm Liz Beth Ray, 555.
You can also visit us at commonroomradio.com where you can find all of our other shows, including Odd Man Out and Roll for Topic. You can also find us on Facebook by going over to facebook.com/commonroomcast or searching for Common Room Radio and we'll pop right up there. You can also email us at podcast@commonroomradio.com if you want. Please write me a dissertation about Snow White. Please. That's all I want in my life. So you can just share all of your thoughts with us. If you like the show, please head on over to iTunes and leave us a rating or a review. That
help
will
people
really
find us. That'll be great.
It'll help people find us. It'll help us crawl up that iTunes ladder, and more people will be able to hear the show. And we want as many people to get involved in this conversation as possible. That's
Definitely.
why,
It's a lot of fun.
It is a ton of fun. We really want to hear all of your thoughts and things like that. If you enjoy the show and you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/commonroomradio, where you can kick us $1 a month or whatever you can afford, and we can make more shows like this.
Yes.
We can include the other Disney princesses that the official list won't let us include for some weird reason. Yeah.
Disney Awesome Lady Deathmatch.
Disney Protagonist Deathmatch.
That works too.
Yeah.
Villains.
Disney Villain Deathmatch.
Villains Akimbo.
Villains Akimbo. See, now, when you say arms akimbo...
This is why you get to name the podcast.
It's
Sarah.
true. Yeah. Welcome to Villains Akimbo.
Good at
because we let Liz have one. Everybody gets one, and this is her one.
Hey, I named Odd Man Out.
That's true. You did. Yes, you absolutely did. So once again, I'm Sarah Cade.
I'm Liz Stevens.
And we'll see you next week. because she's right smack dab in the middle of the demographic. What?